Welcome to Author Talk. I am your host, Jim Dorman, and today we are very happy to welcome Rob Peters. Rob is a seasoned entrepreneur and entertainment industry veteran with over 35 years of experience. Started off as a mobile DJ working weddings, parties, and events, and expanded that to providing his clients with innovative services tailored to their specific needs. Along the way, he learned to pivot and survive through changes like the pandemic, and he's now a sought-after speaker, trainer, and author, sharing his insights with aspiring and established business owners. His latest book is titled The Small Business CEO's Playbook. I've read it, and it provides a lot of good insights and motivation to anyone trying to get something done or just make something happen, in my view. So welcome, Rob Peters, to Author Talk.
Well, thanks for having me on. It's great to be here.
Well, congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
It's, as I said, quite enjoyable and helpful for a small business person. I felt like if anything I was going to try to tackle, I might try to use some of the things I learned reading the book. But can you give me some background on the idea, that what sparked you to write this book?
So 20 years ago, the mobile DJ industry had no business education.
Right.
We would have annual conventions in different parts of the country, and it was all performance-based. You maybe talked about marketing. You maybe talked a little bit about some of the business stuff, but there really wasn't anybody teaching how to be a business person in an industry that really needed it. So about 20 years ago, I wrote a book. I did some research with some help in the industry, and I wrote what was called The Business of Mobile DJing.
Okay.
The Business of Mobile DJing was published through an internal, industry-only kind of publisher, and we maybe sold about 500 copies. And in that market, that was about ideal.
Yeah.
And then I moved on because I started getting sought after for, can you teach this on stage? Can you come to a workshop? And so we were doing that, plus I was running my company up here on the South Shore. Flash forward to 20 years later, I'm out with some friends, and we're talking about authors we know. And I know Michelle Christian, who lives here in town, and I'm very friendly with her son, Aaron, who was out with us that night.
Yeah.
And I just blurted out, well, I wrote a book. It's called The Business of Mobile DJing. I taught DJs how to be business people. And you then watched 5 people around a table pull out their cell phones and start trying to find a copy of this book.
Wow.
And ironically, Aaron found a copy and bought it on eBay for $5. And when he got it, he read some of it and he started telling me, I read some of your book last night and it's relevant. And I'm like, it's 20 years old. How can it be relevant? And the more he read, he kept on telling me, this is something that should still be out there. So I thought about it, and after some consideration and some prodding, I sat down last year and I started taking the good parts out of The Business of Mobile DJing that were still relevant. I edited it down because things have changed. 20 years ago, it was very rare to have companies like Weebly and Wix and all those do-it-yourself website companies to design a website. Back then, you had to take education and learn code and do everything else to make that happen. So I took what was relevant in that book, and then I decided I didn't want to target the mobile DJ industry. I already got the award for that, I guess you could say.
Right.
So I took a look at what the foundation was for my business, and I took a look at my journey. My journey did start in small business through my family's business. My dad ran gas stations in Braintree, and I decided that it was time for small business people that are either just getting started or maybe need motivation to have something and have some of the lessons I've learned. And I didn't learn every lesson the easy way. There were some lumps there that I took over 35 years of doing this that I put into the book, and that's what the end product was.
Right. Well, first of all, great people, Michelle and Aaron,
Yep.
I know pretty well. Is this gratifying to you to be able to share your knowledge and expertise with people? It's kind of a different part of what you do.
It's very gratifying. So I go back to 20 years ago. I'll go again for a second, because at that point in time, I was in the mobile DJing industry for about 15 years, and I went full time. And it was an industry that gave me a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility, the perks of being a business owner, right?
Right.
And I learned a lot, and I was able to make a pretty good living at it. And I looked at where I was, and I looked at where I was going, and I'm like, I'm not a spring chicken here anymore. I'm a guy who's got a lot to offer these people, so let's do that. So it became gratifying to me to be able to get up on stage and go to Atlantic City or Las Vegas or Atlanta and be able to share what I know, because it's that important that the next wave of people in any industry, if I can give them that little bit of insight, that little bit of wisdom on something that I learned so they don't make what some people might call a stupid mistake.
Yeah.
If I can help them avoid that, that's gratifying to me, and be able to have a resource to be able to do that by being on stage or the book or anything like that. I'm looking at where I'm at in my career right now, and I think I'm in a good spot in being able to do this.
Great. And what kind of feedback have you gotten so far?
Nothing bad, which is good.
That's good.
It's funny because the feedback comes as people are reading it, like yourself, and I'm going to put you on the spot for a second. I know that I had given your executive producer here, Kevin, a copy of the book, and he passed it on to you. Right. And in all of the books that I sell on print, I actually pick a page and I write a note to the person buying the book saying, when you get here, will you drop me an email and let me know how you like the book?
Right.
That tells me if people are reading. And you emailed me. The feedback overall is going very well. In fact, we just did a big clinic the other day for a Chamber of Commerce, and I had a few people there that were there live who have taken the book and have dropped me an email right away. I'm only in chapter 2 and I love it.
Yeah.
So the feedback's gone very well so far.
Okay, it's something about DJing. It just sounds like such an interesting business of situations and things that might have come up. Can you maybe tell us a little bit about that and some of the things that you learned?
Oh, gosh. That's the theme for another book that when I get the time, I'm going to start working on, because in our industry, we all have that war story. We all have that difficult client. I mean, I went through this industry when the term Bridezilla came out. And you saw the TV show Bridezillas. And it was, as much as I think there's some value, entertainment value, in putting a show out like that, it was educational for us to be able to know what to look for, because brides were watching this and going, I could treat him that way. And we were prepared for it better. Because of that. To give you a lot, it's funny because I try to avoid the bad stories, because I don't want any bride to ever have a bad wedding day, or any of my clients for that matter. I've had experiences where the wedding went great, and then the feedback afterwards, because people talk to the bride and the groom and their family and say, I didn't like this or I didn't like that, and they make a mountain out of a molehill. Knock on wood, I've been more of the person in that industry where I've gotten the call from different venues throughout the years of, it's 7:15 and there's no DJ here. Do you have somebody you can send? Can you come? And I've saved the day. One story in particular that I will share that I can admit we covered it pretty well. I had never met the groom at this particular wedding I did, and I can't even give you what the time frame was. It was that long ago. And I'd only dealt with the bride. And I scripted everything, and we're at the venue, and I met the groom for the first time on the wedding day. He was military, so I thanked him for his service. He was in full uniform. But when I introduced them, because I was so used to working with Julie Kelly, names changed to protect the innocent.
Okay.
Because I worked with Julie Kelly, I introduced them as Mr. and Mrs. James Kelly, and not his name.
Wow. Okay.
Little bit embarrassing. Oops. Now, again, this was a long time ago. My assistant and we had little behind the scenes cues. The one thing that a lot of people will tell you is if you've got a professional, your professional has a team that's looking out for their better interest. And my assistant stepped on my foot, which told me something was wrong. And he put his finger on the script discreetly, and he said, and I'm like, oh. So we reset the scene. And I put the bride and groom back in the entranceway. And I said, folks, we all know that Jim served this country proudly, and everybody went nuts. Yeah. And I said, but we all know who planned today, don't we? So let's give them a proper introduction. And we restaged it live and brought them in on the correct name. Oh. I had rehearsed this maybe twice in my career. And the couple thought that I did that on purpose. Oh, they're like, really? We can't believe that was phenomenal. Yeah. We have such a unique introduction now because of you. And in the back of my mind, I'm going, I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of great stories because I know how to work with my clients,
Right.
and I really do carefully take a look at who I'm working with. It's not just an interview of whether they like me and they want to book me. I want to make sure I'm a good fit for them.
Right. One thing that I think came through with the book is kind of making yourself, and I love the Jerry Garcia analogy that you use about being unique or being an individual. In your DJing business, are there any things that you did? Can you talk about?
It's where we're at now, believe it or not.
Right.
So, again, I always go back to 20 years ago because that's really where this all started. If you look at the majority of people that are in the mobile DJ industry, they go after weddings, bar and bat mitzvahs, corporate events, and private parties. There has been a shift since about 2015, 2016 to focusing on what you really want to do.
Right.
There are colleagues of mine in different parts of the country who, on their website now, it is Joe Idaho, wedding specialist. And their whole website and their whole image is about weddings. Not a bad way to differentiate yourself in such a crowded space. Because let's be honest, today's world, you can run out to a wholesale club and buy speakers that look like the speakers I paid a lot of money for. You can go buy a mixer, you can download all your music, and you can go and call yourself a disc jockey. I prefer to look at myself as a mobile entertainer. What we did is starting 2015, 2016, we shifted away from that traditional model that a lot of DJs, and again, there's nothing wrong if there are DJs doing that. I just want to make sure I put that out there. There are all-in-one shops. It's kind of like going to the gas station and having the guy, the repair shop that does your brakes and does your mufflers and gives you a tune-up. But you also have shops out there that are transmission specialists, and they just do tires and brakes or whatever. We go after game shows, corporate team building, and trivia. Wow. And that's where our primary focus is. Now, if somebody calls me and says, I want you to DJ for me, if I'm available and it's a right fit, I'll gladly DJ a party again. It doesn't have to be a trivia event. It doesn't have to be a live game show. But we put a lot of investment back, believe it or not, 20 years ago into buying game show sets and buzzers and software and all that stuff. So I decided, because there's not a lot of companies out there doing the game show stuff, that's what we were going to do, and it's been very successful.
Do you find that some of the things that you've learned are very transferable to all other types of businesses now that you're kind of helping other types of small businesses?
Okay. The majority. There's specialized lessons you learn in any industry. Like, don't do that. But I think everything that I've learned, and a lot of the stuff that I put into the book, is things you can use, and you don't have to be a small business person to learn something out of the book. You can be a financial planner that works for a big conglomerate and needs to develop their network. You can be a sales manager for a hotel chain and learn something out of the book, because a lot of this stuff is transferable. The networking chapter alone has been a very worthwhile chapter for a lot of people. My nephew, I gave a copy to my nephew when he got his job. And I said, you're not a small business person, but you kind of are. And if you think about it, any job, you're kind of running your own business of, Jim LLC. This is how you make a living. And it is a business, even though you're kind of your own boss, but you maybe report to someone. I find that is really what powers a lot of people is, and they forget about it. They forget about the fact that, geez, I'm just I'm just an assistant manager at this business. No, you're not. You're a CEO of your own life.
Right.
So that's what
I really liked how you talked about how maybe the person you're speaking with might not need your service. And maybe, it doesn't seem like a...
Oh, the networking chapter. Yeah. So that's the one thing, and I run into this a lot when I do, we do a seminar called Strangers to Supporters. It's about how to effectively go to networking events, make a connection that's worthwhile, and then how to keep that network maintained. We as individuals can only really handle about 100 relationships that we are being somewhat transactional on a regular basis with. But we know about 500 people. So how do you maintain all that? But that was a lesson I learned a long time ago about being able to go to a networking event. I was in a networking group, and it was a lot of high value people, like people who wouldn't talk to you about financial planning unless your net worth was over $1 million. Mm-hmm. And here I am, I'm the DJ guy, I'm the fun guy, right? And I'm talking to people, I'm talking to the realtor because I know people that are brides and grooms that are looking for a house. And those are few and far between back then. And I began to get discouraged at this group because I thought it was a great group to be in. There were a lot of great people there, but I couldn't bring anything to the table that was of use to a lot of people. And I wasn't getting any value out of it. And I pulled the woman who ran the group aside after the event. We sat down and had a drink, and I said, I think I'm going to go. I would love to stay here because I love your vibe. I love what you do. I love what's here. Mm-hmm. The problem is I don't see the value in how either I'm going to benefit or they're going to benefit. And she said, you have to look beyond the face. Mm-hmm. You have to look beyond, like, when I network with you, it's not about, do you need my services right now? It's about, who do you know that might need my services? And the example she gave was this particular gentleman that I described who has a financial planning company. You had to have a network of $1 million to be there. And she said, that's all great, but his wife is on the board of 3 different nonprofits, and they have huge galas every year. Come next week and I'll introduce you to him, mm-hmm. and I'll remind him about the fact that his wife is on this board. So I came back. And sure enough, she pulls me into a conversation with him and says, I know you've seen Rob here, but I'm not sure if you know what Rob does. And so I started to detail a little bit of what I do, and I dropped the term gala. Mm-hmm. And his face lit up. And he goes, you do galas? Yeah. Give me your card. I'm going to have my wife call you tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Next day, the wife calls. Can you come to the house and we'll meet at the house? Okay, sure. So I go to the house, very nice community. Sit down with her. We go through her upcoming gala, and in an hour, I had the job booked. I charged a fair wage and everything else. The next networking meeting, he came up and shook my hand and did the old handshake into a hug, like we've been friends for 20 years. Wow, yeah. He goes, she's been driving me nuts about that gala and trying to find entertainment. You solved that problem. Wow. And that's why you got to look beyond. I mean, I was in a room the other day. There were 3 banks, 4 financial planners, 2 realtors, and a bunch of us other individual people that maybe had that kind of value. And I was actually the facilitator, and I explained to the room, there might be 4 different people here, but those 4 people have 4 different networks that might have something of value. Mm-hmm. And you got to remember that when you go networking.
I always find it amazing when you start talking to speaking with somebody that you don't know who they know, that you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's a spider web.
Yeah.
If you and I right now go on social media, mm-hmm. and we take a picture here on set and we put it up, and I tag you and you tag me, and I go onto your Facebook page, there's that little thing that says 3 mutual connections or 5 mutual connections, or I'm sure here in Abington there's probably about 20, right?
Right.
If you go and do that, you got to remember there's going to be a little bit of overlap, but mm-hmm. if you've got 3,000 people and there are 40 mutual connections, mm-hmm. there's 2,860 people that know you, that like you on Facebook, that might see that I was your guest on the show today and what I do.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yes.
It's a spider web.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's mm-hmm. great. I have a friend that's an entrepreneur, and I look at his Facebook. We always end up with these random mutual friends because mm-hmm. he's always out there meeting people. And I'm like, how do you know so-and-so? Yeah.
We live in a world right now, and the big thing is AI, right?
Right.
AI cannot take away a couple of things. Mm-hmm. It cannot take away your passion for what you do mm-hmm. and how you present it face-to-face, which is why face-to-face and in-person stuff, and even if you're doing it on like a Zoom or a Google Meet, it is so important because you can't communicate that through AI. You can't communicate that in an email. We all know how email can go sideways, 8 ways to Sunday, by just one word being taken the wrong way by the person reading it. And
Yeah.
You know, this face-to-face marketing and just being a business person. If you look at the community here in Abington, there are a lot of great restaurants, a lot of great small businesses here. Yes. You got a lot of great big businesses here. Mm-hmm. Those big businesses started small. You got to remember that.
Absolutely.
But you look at some of the other places around here, these are people that sponsor your baseball teams. They do things in your community. They keep your community vibrant in one form or another. Now, there's nothing wrong with going to those big name places because you look at some of them, and some of them are run by franchises. You look at certain restaurants or gas stations. Some of them are owned by that sign by the door, mm-hmm. by the road rather. Some of them are owned by a corporation that is a small business that decided to take their brand and have that be part of their profile.
Right. You know, and I want to get into some of the more specifics on the book. One of the things that, you know, I think it's something we probably all heard. Anybody who's dealt in business is a mission statement, having mm-hmm. goals, but it's certainly something important to remember. What does that mean to you?
A lot of what happened in 35 years of doing what
yeah.
I did, we had a mission statement and we had a roadmap.
Right.
Okay. A lot of the stuff that happened in my business, truth be told, mm-hmm. I would say it's about 50-50, happened by accident. It was unexpected stuff that happened.
Yeah.
You know, before the show, and this is a great time to bring this up.
Yeah.
We were talking before we started filming about Jesse Cole and the
right.
Savannah Bananas. Okay? If you talk to Jesse Cole or you watch any of his stuff on video, one of the things he will tell you is everything was pretty much an experiment. Mm-hmm. And it was. And the success built from taking an experiment that failed. And remember one thing, in small business or in life, failure is an outcome. It's not the outcome we ever want, mm-hmm. but it's an outcome. And you can either leave it there or you can take what you learned out of it and build upon it. And that's what he did, and that's what we did in our business. We stumbled into clients just based on who we knew. We developed services based on what we knew. And this was pre-Savannah Bananas, but there's a lot of stuff that I'm a big fan of the Bananas. I've never seen a game, but I'm a big fan of the whole Jesse Cole thing.
Right.
Partly because he's a local guy, but more importantly, there's value there. Mm-hmm. I think they have made it okay for businesses to say, you know what, I screwed up. And here's how we're going to fix it. And they do it in a fun way, and they inspire that. Right. And I think that's something worth taking into a business.
Yeah. And I think one thing that comes through whenever I see him in an interview or they're talking about the business is he always says fans first, or
mm-hmm.
he's always trying to remember what their mission is, and I think it does come through in what they do, and it seems to be.
That's a very important point that gets lost. Mm-hmm. We talk about in the book, we talk about empowering your employees. Mm-hmm. At one point in time, I had 5 different employees who would take calls from clients or be doing call-outs to prospective brides. And they would get to a point where they had to stop and come into my office and ask me a question. And my whole morning was answering questions, and I couldn't do what I needed to do as a business owner. Mm-hmm. So I finally sat down with the team and I said, come to me with 10 of the most popular things you keep asking me about. Mm-hmm. Okay. And they did.
Yeah.
And I wrote up and said, I'm going to empower you to do this. How many times have you called a business or went to a business or whatever, and they tell you, I can't do that? And it's something simple. It's something that in the long haul would benefit both parties. But because of corporate culture or regulations or whatever, or even a lack of training, mm-hmm. they've been told they can't do it. As a small business owner especially, you're wearing many hats. You're the bookkeeper, the salesperson, mm-hmm. The person that maybe has to go to town meetings for whatever reason. If you have an out front location, you're the janitor or the stock boy. You're doing all of that, and now you have to answer all these questions. I took it as a coaching opportunity, and I sat down with my team and I empowered them mm-hmm. and said, when you get to this point, if that's not satisfaction enough, then come talk to me. I got a lot of time back. And it was incredible. I got so much of my time back to be able to do what I need to do. Yeah.
Does that make you feel good? You have employees that you can all get on the same page and act like a team?
Yeah. A team culture is really important in any organization, but I think when it comes to your employees, First of all, if you're hiring an employee that you don't trust, you're hiring the wrong employee. And if you can't learn to trust your employees, that's a problem.
Yeah.
These are people that you're hiring to represent you. And if there's not some value of trust on that level,
Yes.
you're going to find that your customers aren't going to be happy. Your employees might not be happy. And you're going to lose out on both.
And backtracking a little bit, but I don't know if you actually worked for your father, but I love this.
did. I did.
Can you tell us a little bit more about?
Oh gosh, there were ups and downs.
Yeah.
But there's something in the book we do. We do the 10 unbreakable rules for small business success, and I got a lot of that from my dad. My dad ran gas stations, and in his later years, he ran a limousine company.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really do recall was before gas stations had like convenience stores in them, they had a little thing out front with some vending machines, and they had bays where you could get your car fixed. And they had gas pumps. And this was right around the time that a lot of gas stations decided that a lot of big franchises like Mobil basically said, we want to try this out. So my dad's gas station up in Braintree was one of the first locations they ever converted. And so they converted the whole place. They shut them down for about 6 weeks, new tanks, new pumps. They re-gutted the whole front end and put in a snack shop. And it was coming around time for the grand opening. And I was actually really fortunate to be in this meeting. And we were talking about something, and what the concept was doesn't matter, but it was going to cost him money. And it was for something, I want to say silly, like, oil change coupons.
Yeah.
That he had to go pay to have printed. And I saw the look on my dad's face, and I saw him kind of begin to get tense a little bit. And what the Mobil marketing rep said to my dad stuck with me. You cannot put a price on future goodwill. If you go and print these and hand these out, if you print 1,000, you maybe will get 20 back. But now you have 20 brand new customers, and you hand these out at your grand opening. And it made sense. And I think a lot of businesses do forget that you have to show appreciation to your customers. You have to take care of the community around you. You can't put a price on that future goodwill of new customers coming through the door. Now, that doesn't mean you have to budget a lot of money for it. It can be simple things. It can be supporting a canned food drive, or what we do is at our trivia nights during the fall and winter, we actually collect items for needy families and toys and toiletries for the military and stuff like that. It seems like a pretty basic thing, but for us to use our audience as a resource to support those in need or those who can benefit, that's what Goodwill is. And it pays, it's basically unpaid advertising.
Yes.
I always tell people, especially in the DJ industry, the biggest and most cost-effective advertising you are going to have is what you do at an event. And for a small business person, it's either how they treat their customer, the end result they get from the customer, or their product, right? With all of that, that's the easiest way for people, because they start talking. Oh, you won't believe Rob DJ'd my sister's wedding. He did a phenomenal job. You have to call this guy, okay? And having raving fans is a whole nother conversation we can have later on. It's easy, because it's paid advertising that you're getting paid to do and you're not paying out. The next biggest thing that we have done is networking and using our networks to do good. And when you do that and give yourself that good guy persona, people attract to that. They want to be a part of it.
Right. Well, you talked a lot about pivoting.
Oh, yes.
Maybe if you could just give us a quick...
Oh, gosh. So if you remember back in 2000 and everything shut down, I watched a lot of our business disappear in 2 days. It was quite depressing because every time the phone rang, it was another client canceling their event. And for me, I sat in my basement. I work in my basement. I have a furnished basement. And I sat downstairs and I just kind of kept on taking call after call after call. And at one point, I just went and sat on the couch and I just took a deep breath and I'm like, okay, let's stop, because I just can't deal with any more no's. And so what we decided to do was a couple of things. I actually took out an old business plan I had for a hot dog business, because if you served food during the pandemic, you were an essential worker. You could go to work. And the one thing that caused the pivot is the fact that most people forgot that as a small business owner, I had to pay my insurance premium. I still had to pay the rent at my storage facility. Music was coming out then, so we still had to pay to get that music. So we decided to take a look at a few of the things that we did and how can we make this safe and fun. So we pivoted, we bought the hot dog cart, we sold hot dogs on Route 1, and then we reached out to councils on aging. And we actually did music bingo parties in the parking lot where we served a hot dog lunch to the seniors.
Yes.
And we did rock and roll oldies bingo in their car. We had the little FM transmitters so they didn't have to get out of their car. We gave them space if they did want to get out. And it was a nice way to get the seniors, which was a big concern to a lot of COAs back then. If you talk to any of those council on aging people, they'll tell you they were really concerned about the seniors being shut in the whole time. We took our bubble business. I actually, up until about a few years ago, was the bubble music man, and I would go to daycare centers and kids parties and do bubble parties for kids. We actually constructed a trailer, and we put a powered speaker on it that ran on Bluetooth, and we put a couple of bubble machines in a battery pack. And I looked at what was going on in every home that you ever went to. And that was parents and kids butting heads because the parent was trying to work and the kid was trying to do school and the kid needed attention and the parent couldn't get away from it. It was really a tense time, especially in my house. I have my fiance and her daughter, and I'm like, I just would really like to go out. So what we did, and we did this absolutely free, we went on tour. We got on social media and we basically said, listen, get out of the house for a few hours. And back then, if you remember, you couldn't have a birthday party, but everybody had a birthday parade. So we decided to do our own parade where we went into different towns and we told every community we worked at that we were coming to town and where we were going. And it was the first couple were just people who saw it. And as we began to do more of these, we started getting requests from people, can you come to my community? But the bigger thing was we went to certain communities where we would go down, and we weren't on like the busy roads. We were on like cul-de-sacs and stuff. I drove down one cul-de-sac in the whole area. There was probably about 10 to 12 homes on this road, but there had to have been easily 500 people. And they were all just enjoying the bubbles, enjoying the music, waving. And when I got to the cul-de-sac, somebody really artsy took my logo and took sidewalk chalk and put a big thank you bubble man and my logo. And it was just a way for us to kind of give back, again, that goodwill thing, but to get people to forget about the fact that we're all in closed quarters and all this bad stuff's going on. And let's have some fun because quite honestly, you can't be mad if people are blowing bubbles. It just doesn't happen.
Well, it sounds like you really took some negative situation and really turned on quite a few positives.
We had to. And it grew into bigger things, and we came out of the pandemic a lot smarter.
So where can people get the book so they can get more of your thoughts and get to know you a little bit better even?
So I have a website for all of that, and it's called robpeters.biz, B-I-Z.
Okay.
You can buy the book. The book is available in paperback. It is also available on Amazon, and there are links there to buy it. There is a blog that I do a couple of blog posts once a week or twice a week about certain things that I either experience, notice, or, for example, when this show comes out, we're going to be putting it up there so that people can see what we're talking about here. You know, as I said before, the book was primarily geared to small business people, but this could benefit anybody, especially if you're a side hustle guy or a girl, and you're trying to get your side hustle going and you want some insight, that's where to get it. But we put a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of stuff about keynotes that we do, and it's just a great place to be able to get recharged if you need it.
Great, fantastic. Well, thanks, Rob Peters, for coming on to Author Talk today. Really enjoyed talking.
Thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Oh, great. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And thank you to our viewers again for tuning into Author Talk. I'm your host, Jim Dorman, and we will see you next time here on Author Talk.